Hello, this is David Preece again, Project Coordinator of the ASD-EAST project. In this presentation, I'm going to talk about the initial mapping activity that we undertook in order to inform and develop our training program and materials. This initial mapping was a multi-phase activity. To begin with, staff from the University of Northampton undertook a literature review regarding teacher training in autism to look at what previous researchers had identified. At the same time, partners from Croatia, the Republic of North Macedonia and Poland reviewed local policy and practice. As well as providing important information regarding the current state of the art, this activity informed the development of a structured questionnaire, which was designed to identify the knowledge, confidence and training needs of specialist educators in Croatia, the Republic of North Macedonia and Poland with regard to autism and teaching children on the autism spectrum. So, as this slide illustrates, the initial mapping comprised 4 phases. The literature review, led by the University of Northampton, the review of current practice, then teachers' views were obtained in 2 ways. Firstly, quantitative data was collected by way of a survey of teachers, with structured questionnaires harvesting data about teachers' knowledge, confidence and training needs. At the same time, focus groups were undertaken in Zagreb, Skopje and Krakow with both special education and mainstream teachers, gathering qualitative data about challenges in teaching children with autism and teachers' training needs. When we analysed the literature, our analysis identified 3 major themes emerging from the literature. Firstly, studies of teachers undertaken across the globe identified a general shortfall in skill regarding teaching learners with autism. Teachers lacked knowledge regarding autism, they lacked skills in working with such children, and they lacked confidence in their abilities to work effectively with them. Furthermore, there were specific areas where teachers identified a need for specialised skills and training. 3 key areas identified related to supporting the communication and social skills development of learners on the spectrum, managing challenging behaviour, and making appropriate adaptations and modifications of the curriculum, teaching methods, and the environment to meet the needs of these children. A questionnaire was developed to collect quantitative data regarding teachers' knowledge and understanding of autism, their attitudes towards different types of education approaches that were commonly used in autism and the extent to which they are used, their confidence in addressing the educational needs of such children, and to identify their own evaluation of their own training needs. The questionnaire was distributed to specialist educators across Croatia, the Republic of North Macedonia and Poland between November 2018 and February 2019. In total, 560 questionnaires were distributed and 340 were returned. After data cleansing was undertaken to remove incomplete questionnaires or those from respondents who didn't meet the sample criteria, the sample comprised 294 usable responses, 103 from Croatia, 73 from the Republic of North Macedonia, and 118 from Poland. In addition, focus groups gathered qualitative data from teachers in special education and mainstream or inclusive settings from Krakow, Skopje, and Zagreb in December 2018. With regard to the survey respondents, 94% were female, which is representative of teachers in this field in these countries. Just over 2/5 were under 35, with a similar number aged 36 to 50, and just under 14% aged over 50. There was a good balance between special and mainstream respondents. 53% worked in special schools and 47% from mainstream. The vast majority, 93%, worked in urban settings. Just 7% of teachers, drawn from the mainstream population, worked in rural areas. Teachers were generally highly qualified and had experience of working in autism. 80% had a master's or doctoral degree, which is indicative of the teacher training systems, particularly in Croatia and Poland. All teachers were educated to at least bachelor's level. Just under 30% of teachers had less than a year's experience, 32 had between a year and 5 years experience, and just under 20% between 6 and 10 years experience. Respondents' replies showed that some teachers held narrow, stereotypical, or factually inaccurate understandings regarding autism. For example, 53% thought that most or all individuals with autism cannot make eye contact. 38% thought children with autism do not want friends, and 17% thought they have no emotions. There were differences in attitude between the three countries and also between special education and mainstream teachers. Overall, mainstream teachers were more likely to hold inaccurate beliefs about autism, hold pessimistic views regarding the education of children on the spectrum, and to consider specialised approaches to be less important. With regard to previous training, 2/3 of respondents had received training about autism at university, and the same number had received further training. However, such training was largely theoretical. Fewer than 60% had received any training in teaching methods, and even fewer had received practical experience while they were trained. Furthermore, although just under 58% said they had received some training, the survey revealed very low overall training in commonly used approaches, between 10 to 25%, and even lower confidence in their use. Special school teachers had received more training and expressed more confidence than mainstream teachers. So, for example, as this table shows, only about 15% of respondents had received any training in the teach approach, and only 6.5% felt confidence in using it. A similar number had received training with regard to social stories, with just over 5% feeling confident in using them. But, as the third column shows, these methods were in common use in the classroom, with, for example, social stories being used either sometimes or daily in almost 80% of classrooms, and teach being used in over 70%. This was an important finding, that despite the low levels of training and confidence, many specific approaches were nevertheless in frequent use within the three countries. There was higher use of specific approaches in autism in special schools than in mainstream schools, but many teachers are either using these approaches without training or without feeling confident in their use. We asked teachers how confident they felt in addressing some of the issues and challenges that are often faced in teaching children with autism. We found a number of areas where teachers felt unconfident. For example, only 31% of teachers felt confident in managing children's anxiety, and only 36% in supporting and addressing children's sensory needs. Special education teachers generally felt more confident than mainstream teachers. Over half of mainstream teachers were unconfident regarding all of the issues and challenges identified, while more than half of special school teachers were confident in 30% or fewer of the areas. The focus group discussions confirmed teachers' low confidence and their need for support and training, and over 90% of all teachers expressed a desire for further training based around practical strategies. The information we gathered in the mapping activity informed the development of the ASD-EAST training programme and materials. And in the next presentation, my colleague Ivana Lesna-Lishjakova will talk more about the programme and the materials. It's important at this point to thank my colleagues who led on the mapping activity in the three countries. Drs. Jasmina Stosic and Natalia Lisak-Shigota in Croatia, Dr. Jasmina Troshanska in Skopje, and Professor Joanna Kosewska and her colleagues in Poland. Particular thanks to Dr. Natalia Lisak-Shigota, who led on the data analysis process, and to Dr. Ivana Lesna-Lishjakova, who led on the literature review.